Does your facility have hazardous materials, chemicals, or wastes on site? If so, extreme weather could put your operations, employees, and local community at risk. Being prepared for severe weather will allow your facility to continue its operations following a storm. The Naval Submarine Base in New London is an example of a facility that is always storm ready. They use chemicals in their day-to-day operations, but have taken steps to be prepared for severe weather events.
The Navy's job is to be ready to fight, and we have to be able to fight under all circumstances and all environments. We cannot allow a weather event to hinder us in our ability to support the mission that this base performs.
So it's important that we keep the hazardous material and hazardous waste away from water. We make sure that we've got everything out of harm's way during that weather event.
Knowing what chemicals your facility has on site is an essential part of being prepared.
For the most part, you're going to know when a hurricane or a storm event is going to occur. The key is having an inventory, and knowing where your material, where your waste is, knowing who is responsible for that, and knowing where you're going to put it when it comes.
Starting on May 1st, all Navy installations are set in a state of preparedness we call TCOR 5. At any time from May 1st to November 30th, this installation is prepared to respond within 96 hours of having a storm strike us. And each level of readiness that we have, there are certain actions and activities that need to be taken.
For us on the environmental side, it primarily concerns hazardous waste. So at a Core 5 level, we need to make sure that we've got the right list of what you have in your site. So on the Core 4 level, we are confirming our list with our site managers. On the Core Level 3, we are now actively, and we're closer to the storm, we're actively driving around to the base and we are picking up the waste. And then we bring it up here, we store it in the facility here. On the Core Level 2, we're actually complete. Everything is up here and in storage. Core Level 1, we're just standing by for any changes in events. Sometimes we get last-minute calls, a place that might have been missed, or we have a contractor on base that has waste stored that we need to bring it up here.
In addition to an emergency plan, the subbase has made facility improvements to withstand storm surges.
So the Port Operations Building is built specifically for floods. All the equipment that can be damaged by water is built above the flood stage. Electrical outlets, the hazardous material storage areas above the flood stage.
Even if we have the surge come over the pier itself, everything's raised up so it'll be higher than what the average surge is that we would expect.
They have also installed floodgates to further protect their facility.
Using the sandbags was labor intensive and wasn't as effective as installing floodgates. And these actually give us much better resistance to seawater when we have surges connected to tropical cyclones or even nor'easters.
Making local emergency management officials aware of your operations and on-site chemicals will allow them to be better prepared in case of an emergency at your facility.
Although the installation is on a rock, we're not an island, and we need to work with the communities that surround us. We support them, they support us. And in order to do that, we have to have what's called interoperability.
Knowing what chemicals you have on site, training your employees, and having an emergency plan will help your facility be prepared.
When you get notified that a storm is coming up the coast, that's not the time to stop planning. You need to have a plan in place, and you need to review that like we do at the beginning of every season. Go through it. Make sure that it's effective. Make sure that it's realistic.
The entire base goes through the exercise of an incoming or upcoming, up the coast hurricane, and it's done every year.
For the Navy, the water is our resource. It's what we operate on and we operate under. We want to take care of it as much as we can, and the coast is important to everyone involved in the Navy, and we want to be good stewards of our environment.